In total, according to our producer on the scene, the former president of the United States took the stand for just 3 minutes. Again, what do jurors make of this? Let me go back to Yasmin Vossoughian. Remind us about this jury, Yasmin. And I should say, the judge said the evidence in this case is concluded. So, who are the jurors who are going to be considering this?
All that anticipation, Chris, and 3 minutes of testimony from the former president. We didn't hear a lot from him. Resuming court, by the way, tomorrow morning at 9:30 in the morning for closing arguments, and then the jury will go in for their decision there. One of the things I thought was most important when we were looking at jury selection early last week was the way in which they asked questions about the makeup of the jury, right? What news outlets they listened to, where they got their news from, how invested they were in the news, who they voted for in 2016, who they voted for in 2020, how familiar they were with E. Jean Carroll, how familiar they were with the former president of the United States, if they had an opinion on it. The folks that were more deliberate about their answers, right? I get my news from MSNBC, from the New York Times, Washington Post. I'm very invested. This is who I voted for. Those were the folks that were, for the most part, excused from this jury pool. The folks that were more vague were the folks that remained within this jury makeup. Some folks saying, for instance, they hadn't really been invested in the news for the last year plus or so. I think that's important to keep in mind as we think about the deliberations this jury will have to go through in making this decision and why it is these attorneys wanted this jury to be making this decision as well. And so we'll just have to wait and see tomorrow. I mean, we could have an answer on this, Chris, tomorrow afternoon. And by the way, I keep saying this, but I think it's an important note as we talk about the money factor here. So E. Jean Carroll looking for $10 million in damages, and then who knows how much more for punitive damages. Just down the road, we have the civil fraud case as well by Letitia James asking for $370 million, right? So in the next 2 weeks or so, if we get a decision on that from Judge Engoron, plus this from the jury here in this case, the former president could be looking at a payout of $380+ million if it goes in the wrong direction for him.